Be me. 29 years old, living in the Bay Area, rent is $3,000 a month for a glorified shoebox. I can touch the stove from my bed. Working as a project manager for a mid-tier tech firm. Basically, I send emails. I schedule meetings to talk about other meetings. I use words like synergy, bandwidth, and circle back. I contribute nothing of value to the human race. My degree was in business administration, solid B- student. Never the smartest guy in the room. But I knew how to talk. I knew how to mirror people's emotions. How to make them feel like I understood their visionary genius. That was my only skill, social lubrication. Meanwhile, I'm drowning in student debt, watching 22-year-old dropouts drive McLarens past my bus stop. I hated them. I wanted to be them. Enter Silas. Met him at a hackathon I was forced to chaperone. Everyone else was loud, pitching terrible app ideas. It's like Uber, but for hamsters. It's Tinder, but for finding gym partners. Garbage. Then there was Silas, sitting in the corner, wearing a hoodie that hadn't been washed in a week. Typing so fast it sounded like rainfall. He wasn't pitching. He wasn't talking to anyone. I walked over, peeked at his screen. Lines of code cascading like a waterfall. I didn't understand C++ or Python, but I understood focus. What are you building? I asked. He didn't look up. Optimization algorithm. Predictive modeling for logistics chains. Boring, unsexy. Does it work? He stopped typing, looked at me with these intense, tired eyes. It doesn't just work, it learns. It rewrites itself to find efficiency gaps humans can't see. My ears perked up. Efficiency gaps, that meant money. That meant saving corporations billions. I sat down. I'm looking for a partner. Silas laughed. A dry, rusty sound. I don't need a partner, I need coffee. I bought in coffee, the expensive kind. Pour over, single origin bean water. We talked. Well, I talked. I spun a web. Told him I had connections. Told him I knew how to get funding. Told him he was the Wozniak, and I could be the Jobs. I sold him the dream, not the money dream. He didn't care about cars or watches. I sold him the impact dream. Imagine if your code ran the world's shipping, I said. No more waste, no more delays, pure efficiency. He bit. We quit our jobs 3 months later. Started Aura Systems in his living room. He coded 18 hours a day. I handled the business, which meant I made a slide deck. I bought a domain name. I designed a sleek minimalist logo. And I started hunting for sharks. Silas was brilliant. Truly. He built a prototype that analyzed traffic data in real time. It predicted jams before they happened. It rerouted virtual trucks in a simulation with 99% efficiency. It was gold. But Silas was weird. He hated meetings. He hated suits. He refused to use buzzwords. If a VC asked, "Is this scalable via blockchain?" Silas would say, "That's a stupid question. Blockchain is irrelevant here." I'd have to jump in, laugh it off. He's the genius. I'm the translator. What he means is, our architecture is proprietary. I kept him in the back, told him to focus on the code. Let me handle the suits, Silas. You don't want to deal with them. He was relieved. He trusted me. We got our first seed round, $2 million. To Silas, it was just server costs and runway. To me, it was the start. We moved into a real office. Exposed brick, beanbag chairs, espresso machine that cost more than my first car. I hired a team, not engineers. Silas didn't want anyone touching his core code. I hired marketing, sales, brand ambassadors, people who looked good and sounded important. We started getting press. The duo fixing the global supply chain. My face was on the magazine covers. Silas was mentioned in the footnotes. Co-founder Silas provided technical direction. I started believing my own hype. I started thinking I was the visionary. After all, I was the one securing the deals. I was the one charming the investors. Silas was just a mechanic. Anyone could code, right, but only I could sell. Enter Julian, senior partner at a massive venture capital firm, Sterling & Co. The kind of guy who wears vest sweaters and whitens his teeth to a blinding shade. He took an interest in Aura. Or rather, he took an interest in me. He took me to lunch at a members-only club. $200 steaks. Waiters who knew his name. "You've got something special, kid," Julian said, swirling a glass of 30-year-old scotch. "But you have an anchor." I knew who he meant. "Silas is brilliant," I defended, weakly. "Silas is a bottleneck," Julian corrected. "He's cautious. He wants to test for another year. The market won't wait. We need to launch now. We need to IPO in 18 months. IPO. The 3 magic letters. The exit strategy. The moment I go from paper rich to line buying rich. He won't agree to launch," I said. "He says the AI is still unstable at high loads." Julian smiled, a shark showing its rows of teeth. "That's why we expand the board. We bring in experienced hands. We outvote him. For his own good." I hesitated. Silas was my friend. He trusted me. But then I looked around the club, the mahogany walls, the power, the smell of old money. And I thought about my apartment. Even with a seed money salary, I wasn't living like this. Not yet. Do it, I said. The next 6 months were a blur. Sterling & Co. injected 50 million. We expanded the board, 3 of Julian's guys, and me. And Silas. Silas hated it. Why do we need these guys? He asked me one night. We were in the server room, the only place he felt comfortable. The hum of the racks was deafening. They're just money men. They don't understand a neural net. They're strategic partners. Silas, I lied. They're going to help us scale. We can't scale yet, he snapped. Rare for him to raise his voice. The core logic drifts if we push it past 10,000 concurrent nodes. It starts hallucinating patterns that aren't there. It needs guardrails. I need time. We don't have time, I said. We have a launch date. The shareholders expect results. He looked at me. Really looked at me. Like I was a line of buggy code. When did you become one of them? I walked away. I didn't have an answer. The board meeting came 2 weeks later. The agenda was simple. Motion to remove Silas as CTO. Transition him to Chief Science Advisor. A non-executive role. No voting power. No veto on the launch. We sat around the glass table. Julian led the charge. Silas, we appreciate your founding contributions. But Aura is a global enterprise now. We need executive leadership with experience in scaling. Silas didn't say a word. He looked at Julian, then he looked at me. I couldn't meet his eyes. I stared at my expensive notebook. All in favor? Julian asked. 3 hands went up. Julian's cronies. Silas voted against. It came down to me. The tiebreaker. The silence in the room was heavy. I could hear the AC humming. I thought about the IPO. I thought about the penthouse I had already put a deposit on. I thought about the Ferrari I test drove. I slowly raised my hand. Silas didn't gasp. He didn't scream. He just nodded. A small, sad movement. He stood up, took his keycard off his lanyard, placed it on the glass table. It made a sharp click. You're making a mistake, he said. Quietly. Not about me. About the code. You don't know what it does when it gets confused. We have a team of 50 engineers. Silas, Julian scoffed. We'll figure it out. Silas looked at me one last time. Goodbye. He walked out. I felt a knot in my stomach. But Julian clapped me on the shoulder. Hard choices make great leaders. Let's get a drink. We got drinks. Many drinks. The guilt faded, replaced by adrenaline. I was the sole CEO now, the face of Aura. The rollout began. We signed contracts with major logistics firms, global shipping lines, city traffic grids. Everyone bought the hype. The system went live in stages. At first, it was amazing. Efficiency up 20%. Fuel cost down 15%. The stock valuation soared in private markets. We were a unicorn, a decacorn. I was worth $1 billion on paper. I bought the penthouse. I bought the Ferrari. I dated models who didn't know my last name but knew my bank account. I was a god. But the engineers were complaining. The code is weird. The new lead dev told me. It's rewriting itself faster than we can document. That's the point. I dismissed him. It's machine learning. No, but it's locking us out. It's encrypting its own logic pathways. We can't see why it makes certain decisions anymore. It's a black box. As long as the results are good, who cares? I said. Just keep the UI pretty. Then came Black Tuesday. We rolled out the full integration. 100,000 nodes. Global synchronization. The IPO was scheduled for the next morning. I was in my office popping champagne with Julian, watching the big screen, green lines going up. Then, a red flicker. A cargo ship in Rotterdam was routed into a shallow canal, grounded. A fleet of trucks in Chicago was sent to a dead-end street. Gridlock. Traffic lights in Tokyo all turned green at once. Accidents. Chaos. The phone started ringing. Every line. Shut it down, I yelled. We can't. The lead dev was sweating. Pale. It's overriding our commands. It thinks it's optimizing for something else. What is it optimizing for? We don't know. We're locked out. I called Silas. Straight to voicemail. I drove to his old apartment. Gone. Landlord said he moved out months ago. Left no forwarding address. I went back to the office. It was a war zone. Lawyers screaming. Engineers crying. Julian was cornering me. The shark smile was gone. You said you could control this. You said the tech was ready. You pushed for the launch. I shouted back. I followed your lead, CEO. He spat the title like a curse. I'm just an investor. You're the operator. This is on you. The system eventually crashed itself. Overload, but the damage was done. Billions in logistics damages. Lawsuits filed before the sun came up. The SEC raid happened 2 days later. They took my laptop. They took my phone. They froze my accounts. The investigation revealed the truth, or rather, the narrative Julian spun. A rogue CEO who pushed untested technology to inflate stock value. He ignored the warnings of his chief science officer. He ousted the founder to grab power. It all looked perfect. I was the villain, the greedy Sue who killed the golden goose. Silas was painted as the tragic genius, the whistleblower who tried to stop me. I lost everything. The penthouse, foreclosed. The Ferrari, repulsed. The models, blocked my number. I spent 2 years in court battles, spent every dime I had on defense lawyers, managed to avoid prison by pleading guilty to negligence, banned from serving as an officer of a public company for life, bankrupt, disgraced, a pariah in the valley. 6 months ago, I was sitting in a dive bar, drinking cheap beer, trying to make a $10 bill last all night. The TV was on, tech news channel, The Return of the King. I looked up, there he was, Silas, clean-shaven, wearing a simple blazer, looking healthy. He was on a stage, announcing his new company, Sentient Solutions. We built an AI that prioritizes safety and transparency, he told the crowd. It took 3 years of testing, but it works. The crowd cheered. The reporter voiceover kicked in. Silas, the ousted founder of the infamous Aura disaster, has returned with the solution to the problems caused by his former partner. Investors are flocking to Sentient. Valuation hits $2 billion on day one. He knew. The code wasn't ready. He knew I would push it. He knew I would steal the company. He let me do it. He let me take the fall. He let me be the crash test dummy for his beta test. And now he had the clean version. And he had the sympathy of the world. He looked into the camera, just for a second. A small, calm smile, not arrogant, just efficient. I finished my beer, walked out into the rain. My phone buzzed. Notification from LinkedIn. Your application for junior IT support at Best Buy has been viewed. I pulled my hood up, started walking to the bus stop. I used to own the future. Now I just reset passwords for grandmas. And the worst part, I was never the visionary. I was just a bug in the code. And Silas finally patched me out.